When you hear the word emergency, what comes to mind? Probably something sudden, right? A fire, a flood, maybe even a pandemic. But what if the biggest emergencies are the ones that are actually happening in slow motion? The ones that unfold over years, quietly touching millions and millions of lives? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. This massive, often hidden crisis of what we call non-communicable diseases, or NCDs. There's a phrase from the source material for this that I just think is brilliant. The chronic emergencies. It sounds like a total contradiction, doesn't it? Chronic makes you think slow, long-term. Emergency makes you think sirens, flashing lights, urgent action. But that paradox, that's what gets us right to the heart of the whole problem with NCDs. So let's just try to reframe this for a second. Imagine if the biggest threat to our health, globally, wasn't some sudden outbreak, but this slow, creeping crisis, one that's quietly impacting our families, our economies, pretty much our entire way of life. See, this isn't just about telling people to eat better. It's a huge, systemic challenge that's literally unfolding in slow motion, right in front of us.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this, we have to look past the illness itself. We've got to unpack the true cost of these diseases. In the world of public health, they have this term called the burden of disease. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like throwing a stone into a pond. The splash, that's the actual sickness. But the burden, that's all the ripples that spread out from it. It's how it affects someone's ability to work, their family's bank account, their community's resources, and yeah, even the entire country's economy.
And this burden, it really has four different sides to it. First, there's the obvious one, health. We're talking premature deaths, more people getting sick. Then there's the social impact, things like disability, a lower quality of life. It also becomes political, right? It creates this urgent need for new laws, new ways for people to work together. And of course, the economic hit is massive. We're talking huge losses in productivity and healthcare costs that are just spiraling. It really does touch everything. So, why call it an emergency? I mean, why the urgent language? It's because every single trend line is pointing the wrong way. We have unhealthy lifestyles and environments causing more and more of these diseases. And more cases mean more disability, which means higher medical bills and lost productivity for businesses. It all adds up to a lower quality of life for so many people. It's a dangerous feedback loop, and frankly, it's completely unsustainable. Which brings us to a really crucial point. Whatever we've been doing, it's just not working. We can't just tinker around the edges anymore. We need a fundamental, deep-down change in how we even think about this stuff. We need a full-on paradigm shift. Okay, so for decades, the old way of thinking was basically this. NCDs are a medical problem, a doctor's problem, something you deal with inside a hospital. But that kind of siloed thinking, it has completely failed us. The new way, this new paradigm, sees this as an all-of-society problem. It's an issue that cuts across every sector. We're talking everyone from the person who designs our cities, to the companies that make our food, to the teachers in our schools. Everybody has a role to play here.
But wait a second. I know what you might be thinking. Okay, I get it, but what about a real emergency, like a global pandemic? Surely when something that big hits, you have to push these chronic, slow-moving problems to the back burner, right?
Wrong. It's actually the exact opposite. A pandemic is like throwing gasoline on the NCD fire. All of a sudden, we saw that people with these conditions were way more vulnerable to getting seriously ill. The stress and the lockdowns, they drove a lot of unhealthy behaviors. The economic mess created even more risk factors. And all the while, all the political focus was somewhere else. See, a crisis doesn't pause NCDs. It makes them so much worse. And that's why this statement is so critical. Health is the agenda of all sectors. It can't just be a side project for the health ministry. It has to be baked into every decision we make, whether we're in a crisis or in times of calm. All right, so if we're all in agreement that this all-of-society approach is the way to go, what does that actually look like in the real world? What's the playbook? Rule number 1 of this new playbook is super simple. No one can go it alone. The Ministry of Health can't solve this. A single company can't solve this. Not even one amazing community group can do it. The only way this works is with coordinated action that gets literally everyone to the same table. And the playbook has some pretty concrete steps. Of course, it starts with things you'd expect, educating the public, training doctors and nurses. Then you need the actual infrastructure for screening and care, and a way to make sure patients don't go broke getting treatment. But check out these last 2 points because this is where that big paradigm shift really hits home. You have to actively collaborate with industry to reduce risks, and you have to negotiate for affordable treatments. I mean, that is miles beyond the four walls of a doctor's office. And to make all this actually work, you need a whole new set of strategies. It means getting high-profile leaders to really champion the cause. It means being opportunistic. Like, if the transportation department is planning new bike lanes, hey, that's not just a traffic project, that's a public health win. It's all about finding that win-win for every single partner and using every tool in the toolbox, from new regulations to big public awareness campaigns. So let's start to wrap this up. The real mission here is to take this idea and move it from being just a concept written down in some report to something that feels like a real shared responsibility for all of us. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about making some numbers on a chart go down. It's so much bigger than that. It's about creating a society where health is a shared value, a collective outcome, something we all build and we all benefit from together. And when we say everyone has a role, we literally mean everyone. We're talking about governments that set the policies, businesses that design the products we use every day, nonprofits that push for change, our local communities that can create healthier spaces. And yeah, it comes down to us too as individuals making choices every single day. And that leaves us with one final and maybe the most important question of all. If health really is everyone's agenda, if tackling these chronic emergencies is truly on all of us, then what's your part to play?